Hello, I'm Michael Dorn, Chief of Police for the Bibb County Public School System in Macon, Georgia. I want to talk to you today about weapons in schools, how students and non-students alike bring weapons into school, how they carry them, how they conceal them, some of the different types of weapons that we find in a school setting. In Bibb County, we've had a tremendous reduction of more than 70% in weapons violations through a comprehensive weapons screening program, core of which is metal detection program. We're going to talk about why programs like this are necessary in schools, private schools, public schools all across the country, why they're experiencing these problems. To give a grasp of that, how wide the problem is, I've personally been asked to come and train more than 2,000 police officers and educators just in the last 3 to 4 years from across the United States and overseas. We've given training and technical assistance to police agencies in Alaska, Maine, Massachusetts, Florida, Texas, all across the country, small towns and big cities alike who've had these problems. So it's a problem that we face just about everywhere in the country, and it seems to be in many areas escalating. First, we want to talk about the items that we might see right in front of us that might be a weapon, and we might not realize it if we don't know what we're looking for. Items such as these brass knuckles that are designed to look like cosmetic jewelry that a teacher or administrator might see a child wearing and not realize that this is actually a very dangerous weapon that can be used to inflict a lot of damage. Very frequently, in fact more frequently, that it'll be seen with a 2 or 3 finger version instead of the full 4-finger version, so it's not quite so conspicuous. But as in many states in Georgia, that's a felony for a student or anybody to possess on a school ground. Might be items like ballpoint pens that are commercially available. This pen writes, but it also has a surgical steel blade in excess of 3 inches that can be purchased for less than $7. Also, another version, and this one we actually took off one of our students a few years ago, is just another type with a surgical steel blade. The good thing about items like this is if you have a good comprehensive weapons screening program and the kids see that you're really concerned for their safety, when a student has something like this, they'll often want to show it to other students. If the students see that the administration cares about weapons in school, they'll report this type of violator to you. We also have items in a variety of commercially available, commonly seen containers like this oil can that have been modified to commercially to hide drugs, money, weapons, and other things from school officials. Normally this will be in a vehicle, but sometimes in a girl's pocketbook, hairspray, soft drinks, anything you can think of, they'll take a container and modify it, and people can buy it to hide these items from us. This is another good reason why we want to use canines when possible to search, because they're not fooled by this. They're looking for the odor and they'll find it. Items like a textbook that can be modified with a cutout to contain a handgun or drugs or another type of weapon. And this is why in our search strategy we need to be sure that we inspect book bags, pocketbooks, and textbooks themselves. Doing away with book bags has helped some systems, but we don't want to presume that just because the students don't have a book bag that they can't find another way around that to hide a weapon. Items like this working umbrella with a screw-out push dagger that I was able to purchase mail order for about $12 and could easily be carried into a school if people didn't know what they were looking for. This sword cane with a rather long blade. This is another version of the sword cane that unscrews to reveal a rather long spike-type blade. This cane right here doesn't have any kind of hidden compartments or blades or anything, but what it does have is a very heavy dog's head on the end. It could crush a human skull without much effort at all. So we want to be aware something like this might look like an ornamental thing or what have you, but we have to ask ourselves, why would a student bring an item to school like this and look beyond what it appears to be and make sure we know exactly what we're dealing with. Now I want to talk about where people hide weapons on them, and I particularly in this situation I've dressed like a gang member for one of our local groups. Now they can't dress like this in our schools because we do have uniforms in place to prevent that. But I want to show why school uniforms or a strict dress code can be so important. Simple things like making students tuck in their shirt to keep them from hiding a weapon, like this Glock pistol, which has been easily concealed up under my t-shirt simply by sticking it down in my waistband. If one gun's not enough for you, maybe another little .380 semi-automatic. This one we took off an individual who was a gang member cruising near our schools. It's even got his gang name etched into the slide, a little .380 semi-automatic pistol. Another little .38 Special Charter Arms revolver, a little 5-shot pistol, easily concealed in my waistband. Items like this collapsible baton, easily stuck down in my waistband. This was taped to my stomach up under the t-shirt, a little shuriken or throwing star martial arts device. For those in the martial arts, we also have the nunchucker, an ice pick concealed in the waistband. I haven't made the point yet about how easy it is to hide something in the waistband. Let's move to something a little bit more substantial, like this submachine gun that, with the magazine out, can easily be hidden up under the t-shirt. Now this one, someone on a traffic stop tried to produce this to shoot one of my police officers. And at the time, they had it rigged with a short shoulder strap to allow it to be worn over the arm and under a jacket and be easily concealed. So it's not far-fetched to talk about how it can be concealed like that, because it actually was set up for that. If I still haven't made the point about waistbands, we can go to something just a little bit heavier, this little shotgun. And this one is actually a lot longer than it needs to be. It could be sawed off from here to about here and still be quite functional at about half the length of what I have now. Now that pretty well eliminates what I've got on my waistband, but there's a lot of other places that we can carry weapons. Most commonly, we're going to find that to be in the pockets, something like a simple little pocket knife. Another gun, you never have too many in a gunfight. Set of metal knuckles. Another small pocket knife. Another little bitty pocket knife, which, while we're on that topic, most school administrators, parents, and students understand that if we have a weapon like this in a school, that it's a very serious concern. Very frequently across the country, students will be prosecuted and expelled for an item like this. But this is where we fall down. We look at pocket knives and small knives, and many times people don't take them seriously. Well, most commonly, when you do have an aggravated assault or a serious weapons assault in a school, it's going to be an item like a small pocket knife or a box cutter, and because they're most prevalently carried, because society doesn't realize how serious that is. If a student shows up with this, every student understands that that's wrong. Every parent, every school is going to have some sense of being in the same train of thought that this is a serious problem. But when we get into items like this, we often waffle. And it's very cruel to our children to do that. We need to make sure that they understand that this is a weapon, just like this is a weapon, and they will all be dealt with very seriously. Neither has a place in our schools. And in reality, while this is more deadly in a confrontation, this is where most of the confrontations are happening, because these items are so much more frequently carried by students. This item right here, I know you'll find this hard to believe, but this is just ordinary lip balm. Okay. Another small knife here in the other pocket. Another small little favorite pocket knife. A set of metal knuckles. Now we go to the back pocket. Now unfortunately these pants only have one back pocket, so it limits the number of things I can carry. But first we'll start with a typical police officer's checkbook. As we can see, there's very little money in here, but we do have a handy little dagger with a 3.5-inch blade. It's very flat and easy to conceal. Razor blades and other flat types of knives are often stored in wallets and checkbooks. Let's see, we have a little pen gun. It's not very accurate. It's only good for one shot, but can be very deadly and easily overlooked by somebody that does not know what they're looking for. This is another reason why we urge that trained police officers and security personnel who've got experience with these matters be used to conduct weapon screening, so they know what they're looking at when someone tries to sneak an item like this by. Trusty little coup baton here would be normally hooked to a keychain, and somebody might think, well, that's just a keychain. Well, it's used as a striking weapon as it is. It can do quite a bit of damage to somebody, but it can also very quickly be brought into play by unscrewing it and screwing it back into the handle. This reveals more than a 3-inch blade. This is extremely sharp, very deadly type of fighting knife. And again, easily available to our kids. Another just a plain plastic coup baton. This is a hairbrush type device. that's actually manufactured this way. If you take the side plate off, you see two razor blades. This is another way that a child might try to bring an item to school. And again, just this simple little razor blade can be a dangerous item. Okay. Butterfly knife or Bailey song, very effective type of knife. Normally will be carried in this position here, and a lot of people may see that and not realize that that's a knife, but it's a very common type of fighting knife, very popular. Another set, these are brass knuckles. And I've got a set of aluminum knuckles, not very heavy. That pretty well ends up in my pockets and everything. Now, where else could I possibly have a weapon? Well, shoulder holster might hide another 6-shot 38 special revolver. We have here another popular means to carry a weapon. Different types of weapon just strung around the neck to place this 5-shot 22 revolver down in the front chest area. So it's important, if we're doing metal detection, that we pass the detector across open areas where we might not normally expect to find a weapon, because that may be a place that they're going to hide a weapon. Another popular means to hide a weapon may be to tape an item like a dagger or a firearm to someone's arm or leg or to their abdomen. This is not normally going to be the way that somebody's going to carry a weapon all day, but if they're going to carry it for a short period of time, they may do that. Just about any place that we can think of, we can hide a weapon. Now we're going to move down to the lower part of my body. Sometimes the gang members like to roll up one pant leg to show gang affiliation, and one problem with this is rolled cuffs can be easily used to hide a weapon. In the sock, we can have particularly items like this box cutter concealed down into the sock. In shoelaces, I can hide a knife in my shoelaces. I can hide a little bit bigger knife down on the side of my shoe. And again, when we're using a metal detector, we need to be sure that we're also covering the feet. Now, I'm not going to bother for purposes of this demonstration, but another way to hide a weapon is under the bottoms of the feet and the bottom of the shoe. I've got one up here, a little dagger taped on the back of my spine, behind my neck. Move over to the other side, and again, you can hide some things here. One more handgun just stuck up in the sock. And again, a student's not normally going to be able to hide a gun there all day unless they've got tight-fitting socks, but it's one way to get a gun into a school if we're not checking those type of areas. Knife kept down in the socks, rather long fillet knife. One more small pocket knife laced down into my shoe. Again, a very small blade, but that can be very deadly in a confrontation. The point I'm trying to make here is not that somebody's going to walk into your school with an arsenal like this, although there has been at least one case that I'm familiar with where that did happen, where a student brought 97 pounds of weapons into a school. That's actually a very, very unusual situation. The point I do want to make is that if I can hide all of this in warm dress summer clothing without being overly obvious about it, then it should be fairly easy for me to hide this up under my waistband and come into a school and a terrible situation to result. And again, that's why we need to become educated about the types of weapons that young people might bring into our schools, and that's why we need to take a very close look at our security procedures. Are we doing something to keep these type of weapons out of our school setting? Are we doing what we need to do to protect our students and our faculty and our staff? Because if students know that these type of items are in the school, they don't learn like they should learn. Our teachers don't teach like they should teach. So we need to be sure that we're creating a caring environment for our students by keeping these types of items and other contraband out of our schools. Thank you.